take us through how you got to that interview with Charlemagne to where you are now. What were the skills that you had to build? Like, what were the connections you had to make? Like, how did you make that move to somebody who's really got a media personality career on the up?
I mean, definitely one skill is really just, this sounds a little bit weird, but practicing your personality. You know, practicing how you like to say things, practicing your flow, like what is your thing that kind of separates you from everybody else. Also, something I pride myself in is just like the research portion of it. You know, I religiously am watching interviews, and I don't want to ask the same question that has been asked, you know, 1,000,001 times. So I'm always just thinking of different ways to, you know, form the narrative and rewrite the story. And I think my main angle when it comes to interviewing is really just a conversation like how we're having now. I think it really brings in that like humane aspect, and those are my favorite interviews to watch. So I try to incorporate that style into whoever I'm speaking to.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like practicing your personality. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like how do you go about doing that? How do you figure out who your personality is and how authentic it is and how related it is to who you are just as a person with your friends and family? Like, walk us through and help young people specifically who maybe want to do this as a career or even as a hobby, right? Be a media personality, be a, you know, social influencer. Like, how do they start to understand their niche or their personality?
I mean, I thought when it came to hosting and being a media personality that I was thinking like of a news angle, you know, like, what's going on, everyone? You know what I mean? Like, it was a very different dynamic than what felt like natural to me. And I think for me, it really is kind of just about going against the grain and breaking the rules. I think that's kind of how you find what your niche is. Not being super politically correct, you know, not being super, you know, cookie cutter and perfect. You know, if you have an accent, that is your thing. You know, if you're from the hood and you speak with a little bit of slang, that is your thing. You know, if you talk with your hands and you're super like, you know, loud and obnoxious like me, then that is your thing. So, you know, really just finding out kind of like the different things that make you you. Like, I also have a list, you know, but that is my voice. That is what makes me me, and that's okay. Something that I do is just always watch myself, you know, like I'll rewatch every single interview that I did, and I'm just like kind of just nitpicking every single thing. Like, okay, I like how I said this. Okay, I like how, you know, I looked at this person and then looked at the camera. You know, really just picking up the things that you like and then the things you want to change and implementing that into the next interview. You know, there's certain interviews that I'd be like, I did that. You know, that's who I am as a host, and that's how I want to represent moving forward.